So as I said, my favourite minister is here, and I would like to invite the Honourable Ian Hunter, Minister for Climate Change, to speak on the importance of the Carbon Neutral Adelaide program.
Thank you, Sandy. Sandy always tells the truth, not all the truth. I'm her only minister. But indeed, we do love our Lord Mayor, and he's our only Lord Mayor as well. Can I also take an opportunity to pay our respects to the Kaurna people, the traditional custodians of the land we meet on today, Right Honourable Lord Mayor Martin Hazy. And the other thing you should be aware of in Sandy's opening discussions was the photographs. If you don't want to be in a photograph, you better make sure we know, because otherwise you'll end up being like Jenny Paradiso, driving in traffic and finding your face on the back of a bus. She had no idea. She gave her permission to that. And you have no idea what we'll do with the photographs we're going to take of you tonight. Only good things. Thank you very much for all being here on this cold evening, wet evening. I don't mind the rain myself, because as long as we can keep the ground nice and damp, the pipes won't be bursting. And that, from my perspective, is a good thing. However, it means demand for water will be down and people will buy less, and so our profits will be down and the Treasurer won't like me. But it's, it's a quid pro quo. Today is another very important milestone, I think, in our goal, our shared goal with the City of Adelaide, to make Adelaide the world's first carbon neutral city. And as Sandy intimated, we thought there might be 5 or 6 of you here tonight for a fairly high level celebration. And it's just astounding for us to be here with you tonight, so many willing partners who see the future as we see it and want to be with us on this journey. And this journey is the one that our whole state will be taking with us, whether they know it or not. It will be peer pressured. But those people who don't know they're on the journey will wake up to it one day, and hopefully those of us with a vision will have actually put us on the right pathway to prosper. Our moves to decarbonise, for example, the electricity network, upgrades to our public transport network with wonderful pictures of Jenny on the back of the bus, our formal alliance between the state government and the Adelaide City Council have helped put our state on the global map. And that's not too much of overreach. If any of you have travelled, have had discussions with your counterparts, as the Lord Mayor will tell you. In fact, our unique partnership here is of such a high level that people talk about us overseas a lot in a very favourable way. Our climate change adaptation framework has enabled our regional leaders to work collaboratively in planning for the challenges that global warming will bring to our state. And our state's approach, our strong local and our regional focus, has attracted international attention as far away as New York and the United Nations for its innovative approach to adaptation, which involves bringing the community along with us rather than dictating what the community will be allowed to do. All 12 of our regions in the state, our local regions, have developed regional adaptation plans, making a fantastic achievement for climate change adaptation in this state, one we can be very proud of, and they were all generated on the ground. At the Paris Climate Change Conference in December 2015, South Australia was the first Australian state to sign up to the Under 2 MOU agreement. That's a global commitment to limit the global average temperature increase to below 2 degrees Celsius and to be very public and visible about our efforts and our reporting on our efforts to date. Currently, this MOU has about 170 signatories and encompasses a quarter of the world's global economy. And in line with this agreement, South Australia has a target of being a carbon neutral state. That's across the whole state by 2050. But the first steps towards this goal is our Carbon Neutral City campaign. We've taken these steps because we recognise that it's not just the environment that will benefit from action on global warming, but our economy can as well if we get in at the very early stages. Now, the world is adapting to a carbon-constrained future, although you wouldn't know it if all you read was the 1 or 2 papers that we have access to in this country. They'll tell you that why are we bothering to make efforts? No one else in the world is actually moving on this road. But if you actually venture outside of Australia and you do read the media from around the world, you'll actually find that everyone is making efforts to move down this pathway, or some, like the United States, might be moving backwards for a couple of years, but that'll be fixed in 3.5 years' time, I imagine. Business leaders and many of our largest trading partners are taking concrete steps to reduce carbon emissions and to invest in the kind of technologies that will power this transition which is going on right across the world. And this presents a fantastic opportunity for our state. Last week, the Premier released a very important study that showed that a circular economy with a strong climate action focus that was part of that circular economy could deliver 25,000 new jobs by 2030. And so we're on this pathway to realise this potential that is out there for our state. We've already seen about $7.1 billion of investment in renewable energy technology right across our state. Our goal is $10 billion by 2020, and more than 40% of this investment stays in our regions, and which is very important for underpinning the economy in our country towns. We know there is more investment on the horizon, with another company announcing a $1 billion battery and solar farm in Morgan to be built. And it's not just the environment, as I said, that will benefit from our move to renewable energy. It'll be the jobs, the thousands of jobs are being created in our communities, underpinning the economies of our regional towns and cities. But we need to be able to continue to innovate, to lead the way, so that we actually can reap the benefits of being early adapters and early movers as we harness the potential that this unstoppable change is having right around the world. On the international stage, the G20's Financial Stability Board will soon be presented with recommendations from its Climate Risk Task Force on how businesses should be disclosing to investors their exposure to the impacts of climate change and of the commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And in Australia, APRA, the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority, has already highlighted legal advice that company directors have a legal duty to consider climate change in carrying out their responsibilities. Now that's probably going to send shockwaves right through our corporate community, those who haven't already read the advice or woken up to it. But there are signs, and these are signs, that internationally and at home, the business community is positioning itself, besides government, don't worry about government for now, the business community is taking these decisions based on the reality of climate change, and is positioning itself to seize the opportunities that climate change brings in terms of innovation and growth, and how to deal with the risks associated with global warming. Here in South Australia, Carbon Neutral Adelaide is a shared vision between the City of Adelaide and the South Australian Government. And we are well positioned to reach our goal of being the world's first carbon neutral city. According to the last official data release, 43% of our energy came from renewable sources, and I suspect that the next update will show that South Australia has reached its goal of 50% renewable energy 8 years ahead of schedule. We have one of the highest per capita penetrations of solar PV in the country, and approximately rooftop PV, and approximately 1/3 of Australia's wind farm capacity. And at a government level, we're taking significant steps to minimise our own carbon emissions. We are increasing the percentage of low emissions vehicles in our fleet. My chief executive has an electric hybrid, and she's spreading that throughout the agency, and I'm told when I replace my next car it will be one just like Sandy's. If not, it could well be Sandy's cast off.
It'll be cleaner.
It'll be cleaner, that's fantastic. We're also committed to ensuring the buildings that we occupy as a government and lease are above 4.5 star NABERS rating. Sandy again is leading by example, because I think Sandy has the first building in Australia to get 6-star rating at the first pass. In fact, we overachieved with something like 68 points, and we needed 59 to do it. So again, Sandy is a champion leading by example. We recognise that this objective isn't achievable just through government action, however. If we want to, in fact, realise our goal of becoming the world's first carbon neutral city, we need to partner up with people who can actually make that work for us. That is why the Carbon Neutral Adelaide Partners Program is so very important. Its main objective is to encourage city businesses, organisations and the community at large to commit to actions that will reduce their emissions and lower their carbon footprint. You're here today because you've demonstrated your support for Carbon Neutral Adelaide ambitions by taking action and leading the way for others to follow, or you will certainly sign up to those ambitions before you leave the premises. Sandy has people stationed at every door, and you'll have to sign your way out. I'd like to thank those who have already come on board as founding partners prior to this event for their leadership and commitment to Carbon Neutral Adelaide's objective. Your leadership in this program is a great fill-up for us in government, because we know that your status in the community will help us achieve our goals. We will help to provide opportunities for you and those that you seek to bring into the organisation as well, to promote your achievements and to demonstrate the great work that you're doing. We might not put you on the back of buses, exactly like Jenny, but we'll have other avenues at our fingertips we can utilise. We want to also develop networks across government and business and use your example to extol the virtues of what we're trying to do. And we want to help to build capacity within new industries and set them up or encourage them to be set up in South Australia to employ more South Australians. And of course, we need to strengthen our connections with the local community to make sure that they continue to do what they've been doing in great strides in terms of rooftop solar and trying to transition that also to household battery connections. So Carbon Neutral Adelaide is designed to empower your businesses and your organisations and our community to take practical, positive action for a better Adelaide and a better South Australia. So I encourage you all, those of you who are here today with an interest in being part of this solution, to register for Carbon Neutral Adelaide, join our founding partner program and lead the way towards a carbon constrained future that creates employment and opportunities for our state. Thanks very much.